Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us today. We'll be exploring how traditional crafts and techniques, sometimes even centuries old, can be reimagined to create contemporary collectible design. And for this, I'm joined by Valérie Maltaverne, founder and creative director of YMER&MALTA, whose studio is a very important bridge between traditional crafts and pet savoir-faire to contemporary design. So welcome, Valerie. Let's begin, Valerie, by at the start of your journey, and let's talk about how you started and your foray into design. So tell us a bit about that.
First, I had this certification and bike here and make it work for video. So I start in Malta after 25 years working in the movies business. And when you work in the movies business, it's a quite hard journey because you work with a big team. You start by as probably, and you will see later, the why YMER&MALTA is so special because I'm used to stay and go deeply on what I'm doing.
Lovely. So tell me, let's dig a little deeper on that. So how does your background in film and production help you, or what are those contexts that you bring from that space into design? And what are those similarities?
I think all the collection and all the pieces have a scenario. And we start by this scenario, and this scenario we make the proposition easier. And also, oftenly people, when they are designing, they try to find them, they make the mood board with other pieces from the design contemporary world. But it's exactly the opposite what we do. With YMER&MALTA, we start by something, by a mountain, by a pier, and we start by that, and we speak around the subject until we find the right design.
And when you founded your studio, YMER&MALTA, and you were telling me that it was after working in film and production, you actually forwarded it to it because you were creating your own home, and you saw there were so many similarities, and then you thought this could be an interesting space to work in. But when you decided, when you formulated your studio and you decided that I'm going to work with traditional savoir-faire, the French savoir-faire, did you come from a thought of preserving those traditional crafts and techniques, or was it more about transformation?
You know, it was an organic story because I work in the movies business, but I work also in the animation business. And so I work with all the cartoonists. I don't know if you know what is cartoon, but we have, in France, we have a lot of cartoonists. And I decide to work with them on the world of the fairy tales that they bring in their own world. So, and I knew before I start the animation business, I know nothing about this business. And I heard all the price, and it's because I think I was exactly at my place. One feet in the tradition and the other feet in the 21st century. And I think it's really my personality to be with the culture and to be with the world that we still don't know for at this second.
So rightly like a bridge between.
Exactly. I like to be a bridge, and I like also, and I think also the movies business give me that to start with a black page, and you go, and you don't know where exactly you go, and at the end everything become clear.
So it's actually whenever we talk about craft or when we talk about design specifically, usually function is associated with design. But your process seems more like in the space of the arts. Because over there, when you start, you don't have an endpoint or a function in mind, and you are just going with the process and then ending where it ends. It sort of seems like that.
Yes.
So tell us, what's usually the starting point of your process?
I start, all the collections start with a material or with a savoir-faire. And we, as I said, during 3 or 5 years, we go in this savoir-faire and I collaborate with designer, I collaborate with artisan and with the best artisan in France. And at the beginning, I want that because obviously I want that the pieces we made can be used. But my first question is I want to make them sculptural. And also, the second point I have in my head is not to be fashion, is to be intemporel. Like that, because I don't want you, if you buy a thing from YMER&MALTA, 10 years after, you think, no, it's not a memo for me. I think the pieces, they are poetic. You can live with them very peacefully. And for me, it's really important to have the sculptural pieces that we use every day.
And also, you were telling me earlier that almost each one of the pieces that you've designed or created have always have an inspiration from nature. It's always nature inspired.
Yes, I think in the nature, you have all the best. It's a pure beauty. If you take care, if you open your eyes when you travel, you have the light can change every minute. If you go to the mountain, see the trees, the green, and everything. If you go slowly and you open your eyes, you will see the pure beauty everywhere. So when I create a connection, this inspires me a lot, obviously.
That's your main inspiration. Okay. I'm going to move to some of the questions which I think a lot of younger designers who are getting into collectible design, they have on their mind usually. So one impending kind of looming question always is that how do you differentiate between a well-crafted object and when it becomes a collectible design? So what according to you is?
So my first recommendation for the younger collectioner, just the beginning, buy what you really like. This is my first point. And also educate your eyes, because time after time, you are going to be more capable to see what is really important or not. And what is for me collectible design, it's why it's really difficult to reproduce. For example, for the most of the pieces of YMER&MALTA are 8 simples or 12 simples. But trust me, obviously the first one is really difficult to make it. I have to be also for the second one, for the third one, because if not, your pieces go not exactly where he has to go.
Another important question usually is the value of each object that is created as a collectible object. And that's always like a debatable topic. So what, according to you, because your collections are different kinds, some of them are unique objects, some of them are editioned into certain numbers, and there are others which are a different realm altogether. So what do you think, and when you are creating, what elements contribute to how a piece or a collection is valued? Because I think in collectible design, it's a very subjective topic overall, that how the pricing of an object or the value of an object or somebody, the onlooker or the audience, how they are perceiving what if it's a piece of table which has been created. So what are the elements or what are the things that contribute to the value of that object?
I think it's the imagination behind the pieces, the work, because there is, trust me, behind all the collection you can see right now, there is a lot of work. We work, for example, you saw the Tapestry de Busson collection has been commissioned by the Museum of the Tapestry, la Cité Internationale de la Tapisserie. It took me 5 years to realize these 6 pieces, because you have to work with the artisan. You will time after time after. Obviously, there is the drawing before, but after to just move the artisan to another world that he still don't know that he is capable to do it. So, for example, for Aubusson tapestry, usually they were used to work with silk and wool, and because of the subject we had, we work with bamboo, here, bamboo, and so many different. Yes, so we have to look the materials, we have to look the way they are used to throw, we change it, and it was a long exchange between the artisan and I. But that's exactly what I like, in fact, because if you don't like what to do, it's too long. And because you don't know me, but I am very excited woman, and everybody said, "The Valerie, you still working on the wood tapestry, or you still working on the wood marquetry?" Yes, but every day something happen. Every day you have to remake it. Even if you work during 6 months on a subject, after 6 months you said, "No, it's not really good, so forget it and go to." So it's to be very exigeant and to focus on what you want to do. And I think you feel it when you see the pieces. And if I was a collectioner, it's probably that there is no marketing behind. We are not looking and running after the money. We are doing the best for the best, and there is not another question about to be the good thing.
So different elements then. Sometimes it's the amount of time it takes to produce an object. Sometimes it can be the value of the material you're working with. Or sometimes it's also the number of collaborators involved.
And also, as I said, how the drawing is well done and how the artisan made the best technique that he...
So the entire process.
Yes.
Right. So I think I'm going to go a little bit into detail about some of the works that you've done. So let's begin by talking about the wood marquetry that you did.
Yes.
And I remember when we were talking, you told me that when you thought of working with wood marquetry, it was something that people had left behind, and you thought, and when you decided to do it, many people told you that, hey, why are you revisiting this centuries old technique? So tell us a bit about this.
Yes, as I said before, I like to have one feet in the tradition and the other one in my time. And all our parents get marquetry mobilier at their place. And we forgot it completely in the 80s, 90s, because everybody was focused on industrial design. And everybody were working on industrial design. So nobody cares anymore about that. But I feel that the marquetry could be very nice and very beautiful if we remodern it. So that's mean they were not doing a new mobilier, they are working to restore. So I had to work with him, and after, that's what also the difficulties of my work is. You work with one man and he go in retreat. So you have to work with another one, and to be, but I know with the first one where we don't have to go, so I learned a lot with the first pieces. And so why also we abandoned the wood marquetry is because before we use a varnish called vernis au tampon. And if you put some water or some wine or some candles on this, everything is destroyed. So we have to find the right varnish to be able to use it. A varnish, don't put something like it was a mirror on it. You can feel the wood. So you have, on every stage, you have to learn you have to push, you have to, every stage of the collection, choose the material, choose the right drawing, choose the good artisan to do it, and follow it until the end. And how to make all the last thing, it's like exactly when you do a place, the little details is really important until the end.
And when you did finish this particular project, which is the Sleeping Beauty, then I think use of that traditional centuries old material, I want to know that what in that old technique that you keep, and what did you push into, say, a newer territory?
Is that after this collection of food marquetry, everybody told me, Barry, are you crazy? You are completely crazy. Yes, 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 but I want to do my thing until the end. I had the chance that the director of La Cité de Tapisserie of Aubusson, Tapestry Aubusson is what you can see at Versailles on the wall. Usually it was a scene of coroning, a scene of hunting, and they asked me to bring this savoir-faire in the 21st century. So trust me, at the beginning, it was nightmare because I am like that. I don't know, I'm not sure where I'm going. And at the end, I knew, okay, I need a scenario. So where you want to have some wool, so in the mountain or in the campaign. So I choose the mountain. What could we do around mountain? And if you see these pieces, I don't know, because unfortunately, you have to come to my place, because when you see that by picture, you really can't do it. If you make the video pass, probably it's going to be more easy. But this is a lamp of snow. So you can see the different way we some of them, it's when the wind blow the snow, when this is the water, and it is the reflecting of the, here you can,
The reflection of
yes, here you can see the frozen here, and so the powder snow. So and to do that, we use different techniques, and we use so different material. And after, we work with aluminum, polished aluminum, and the tablets here, the little table, reflect the tapestry. So if you are close to it, you are lost in the tapestry. But it's really difficult to imagine what it is only with photo and video, because we need to touch. Everything is so sensible.
Well, I've had the privilege of doing that and seeing this piece live in her studio, so I know how fabulous this piece is. And specifically, I think I have to give it to you because tapestry is usually associated with, in the traditional sense, as a wall. Yes, but you pushed it to a sculptural realm.
Yes, because my work, I think we could see the full. Yes, for example, like here again, when this is a bench, and the part in the wood, it's a burn wood. So we have to translate the burn in tapestry, and for the woman who make who show it, who tapis, if I don't know how you say that in English. It was really, really hard to find the right way to, because nobody asked her a thing like that. So after we find all the material, she made probably 100 simples, because when they work behind. They don't see what they are doing. So I was afraid after 100 samples that she said, Barry, I'm fed up of you, go away and go. And I was like that. So I was, no, but a little bit more effort. And I find a Korean guy, a very known painter, an artist painter. And he works with the painting, very strong, white and black. And after 100 samples plus this picture, she understood what she has to do. And as she said, once they make tapestry, they can listen music and do the tapestry with their hand. But with the kind of job I asked them, they are unable to listen music because the rhythm is on their hand. And it's because it's so special.
It's part of the process.
Yes. Yes.
They're in a zone when they're doing it.
So here it's a beer, and if you see the wood here, it's a hope stay in the mare, in the water during 5,000 years. That's why it's gray. And we choose, they tinted their color at Aubusson. So I bring the piece of wood and we choose all color around this, the wood to have something completely, the wood go completely the tapestry in the cabinet.
And this piece is a part of the Aubusson Museum.
Yes, it's all the pieces you can see belongs to the museum. And after we have 8 editions, so the 1 on 8 belong to the museum. And after we have the other number to sell. And it's make the people work.
Okay, let's move on to my favorite collection of yours, which is the Akari Unfolded. So this is a collection that you did with the Noguchi Museum.
Yeah.
And I think this was very different because usually you are experimenting with, say, a traditional craft or a technique. But here, when you were creating this collection, you were in conversation with the curator, another artist, which is another kind of challenge because you have to respect and revere what they have, and then you need to create something with your own elements. So how did you do it?
I don't know if you know Noguchi. Noguchi is a very known sculptor. He is American or Japanese, and there is a museum on the quiz. It was his atelier and in his house, and it's a very peaceful place. It's just the opposite of New York. It's so peaceful, so nice. And at that time, there is a curator called Dekinat. It was a formidable curator. And I came to, he liked the way YMER&MALTA play with the material. So it asked me, Valérie, what could we do together? I said, I'm going to stay in my land. That's mean in the light sculpture. And if I work with lamp, but let's say light sculpture to be in the museum. And so I worked with 5 different designers. One we were used, in fact, at the beginning, we don't know exactly. I just want to have a design close from Noguchi. That means something very peaceful, very calm, very. And so we began the drawings. And after the drawings done, I will say, where? For example, if we can see the gallet, so the gallet, when you go to the garden of Noguchi, there is stone, very beautiful stone, very peaceful stone. And I said, okay, we are going to make a drawing with this stone. And when we finished this drawing, it was not too hard to find because it's simple, but for me it's beautiful because it's simple. And to say, well, in what material I'm going to do it. So it was the opposite of my way to work. And so I said, what can I use to let pass the light? So resin come quickly, but when you work with resin, you mold it. So that means you have a joint all around your gallet. And I said, I don't want a joint. And everybody told me, Barry, resin, you mold it, you have joint, no matter you. And don't ask me, 1 year after, I was talking to everybody, and there is an engineer, his company was in bankruptcy, but he had to stay in the company, so that means he has nothing to do. And so I called him and said, do you want to help me? And he said, let me think. And 1 month after, he told me, I have an idea. We could rotomoule. I don't know if you see rotomoulage. It's not mud. Have your mold, that light, and he pushed the produce on it, and there is a brow with turn. And He said, do you want to buy a machine? Okay, what's the price of the machine? Well, it was okay. I said, let's start. And we start because we have a date. Usually I don't have date, but we have a date of the exhibition of Nobuchi. And we were able to do the three first one, the little one. During the process, we put some sand on it to make this look a stone, as a stone, and we were unable to do the too big one. And I thought probably because they are too big. So we went at the exhibition just with the three little one. And at the end, the too big, we understood why we were unable to do it. It's because we were in winter and we can't work. The people who work with keys, tools, they know that you can't you can't work with resin during a cold time. You need to have between 22 and 24 degrees. But this man was not a tooth man. I am not a miss. And, well, it's the way you work. We don't know where you go. And at the end, we go to the point.
So the moldability of
Yes.
the temperature. Okay, and in collection, I also saw that you worked with different materials. Like you said, resin, it was flax paper. So material, like when you're working with one particular collection, do you think it's challenging to work with different materials to create different pieces? Is that more time taking for you in that process?
To what? To
Like basically you said that you created different pieces. There were certain pieces which were in flax paper for the
resin. It's because to explore all the technique, we can replace the paper. Because Nobushi, you know, there is the lamp of Nobushi. And if you see this one, I don't know if it's clear because it's white and white. And the picture is not really good. I should send you Ash 3D. This come from my idea come from the falaise of Bonifacio, the mountain go to on the sea, and so we worked a drawing during 6 months, and I don't like the drawing, so we put everything because it was too agitated to go to Noguchi Museum. At the end, we find it, but how we are going to make all this lay? I said, I am not Japanese, so I won't use a washi paper because we won't be able to do as good as they are doing. So I decided to work with linen because linen also, the light can come through. And but we have to work how to make the linen hard. So it was also a process. I use, as you understand with the galet, I use with engineer. When I don't know, when the product doesn't exist, we work with engineer to find the way to do it. And before to find the shape, I asked to have this shape in 3D. And when I saw the 3D, you can put the one in porcelain. Yes. When I received the 3D, I said, oh, it's so beautiful. We should do it because the lampadaire is big like that. But this one is like that and like that. And I decided to work with a pastry, the porcelain. It's the porcelain who let the light go through. But I didn't decide at the beginning to make this in little. Because I received the 3D printing, I said, oh, we should do it also the same in porcelain. So it's really an organic work.
And I want to ask you that we spoke about so many of your collections, and in the beginning, I'd also mentioned that almost you produced about 100 pieces, 100 plus pieces. Out of that, almost 60 of them have been displayed in cultural institutions and museums. And you said about 23 of them are already acquired as permanent collections of the museums.
Yes.
So you have quite an experience with working with such cultural institutions and museums, but it's always, I believe, difficult when you are doing collaborations, be it with artisans or craftspeople or designers and even with institutions, because you need to maintain this equality in the exchange that you're doing with them, respecting what they are bringing to the table and what you bring to the table. Tell us a bit about how you manage that, because why I ask this question is that collaborations is the key word right now. even for younger designers, older designers, architects, product designers. So it's really important to understand how you manage those kind of relationships and that exchange.
I think a team is stronger than you alone, because also it's my movie life.
Your older experience in film,
Sorry.
your experience with the film.
Yes, my experience for the film. Even if you are the best director, you need to have a man who take care of the light, the man who take care of the printing, the man who take care of the music. You can't do anything by yourself. It's impossible. So for me, it was absolutely normal to work with team. And one day, the director at that time, the director of le Musée des Arts Décoratifs de Paris, Béatrice Salmon, came to me and said, "You know, Valérie, nobody works like you." I said, "How they work, the other one?" But they are designer, or they are artisan, or they are gallery. And you are at all the stage. And I could not imagine to not be like that, because it was my life, and it's probably also what I like. And where I'm good at that, to manage and to have a taste and to have a vision of what I want to have.
So it's like an all-encompassing studio that you have.
Yes.
Okay. Now coming to a very important question. I think a lot of designers would also want to know this, that your works are in places like the Museum of Decorative Arts, to the Louvre, to the Centre Pompidou. Now, tell us, what are curators looking for when they are selecting especially objects, the craft objects, to acquire them? What is the key thing you think they're looking for?
I think it's because for them it's intemporal. So in 100 years, people will still be interesting, because also I use a very ancient savoir-faire that I bring in 21st century. So this thing is really new, becoming more popular right now. But at this time, it was nobody did that, and it's really it's art, and also it's a luxury, completely the maximum of the luxe at the end. So even if I don't like the word luxe, because that's mean only few people can go to it. But if you work with all the best material and with all the best artisan, at the end, it's becoming a luxe. But art is a luxe also.
So basically a well-researched, thought-through process leading to an authentic object.
Yes, because for example, if you see this tool, I play with my hand and with a scissor and paper, and I made this tool. I don't know. It was a sad time for me. I just lost my father, and I was thinking, and I was playing with my scissor, and at the end I did this for his shape. But this shape, you can't do it with wood. You can't do it with stone. You can't do it. So I have to make research of with what kind of material I can do it. And so it's linen again, mixed with resin, and it's 3D printing. So we use the machine so to have. It was also a long research to be able to do it. To make it.
Okay, my last question before we move to a short film where we can see Valerie's work in action is that, looking ahead, what are some of the craft traditions that you're looking forward to working with in future?
In the future, I work for a few pieces on glass that I would love to work and to go deeply also in the world of the glass, and also bronze.
Bronze and glass.
Yes, bronze and glass, yes.
Okay. We'd like to play a short film about Valerie's work, and which can sort of encompass all that we just spoke about.
Pour Busson, puisque Busson, c'est quand même donc un savoir-faire incroyable qui existe depuis des siècles. Et donc, pour moi, c'est un savoir-faire magnifique. Donc, nous avons appelé cette collection la tapisserie d'Aubusson, The Great Lady, parce que voilà, The Great Lady, elle arrive avec toute sa noblesse, elle arrive avec toute son histoire, et elle est toujours aussi belle, et elle courra les siècles à venir comme elle a été dans le passé. Voilà, j'avais étudié d'abord le savoir-faire parce que je dois m'imprégner de la tapisserie. Donc j'ai été voir toutes les expositions où il y avait de la tapisserie. J'ai beaucoup écouté Bruno Itier qui m'a appris et m'a donné toutes ses connaissances, enfin évidemment pas toutes ses connaissances, mais m'a ouvert l'œil sur ce que je devais enregistrer. Et en fait, donc j'ai abordé la tapisserie avec les lissiers. Donc les lissiers, ce sont les gens qui tissent. Puisque nous partions de cartons qui n'existaient pas vraiment, puisque aucun d'entre nous n'est peintre. Donc en fait, c'était des attentions. Et après, c'était d'étudier avec eux non seulement évidemment les couleurs, puisque évidemment tout le bonheur d'Aubusson, c'est qu'il crée les couleurs sur place. C'était aussi leur faire inventer des points, parler des vibrations. Et on a fait des centaines d'échantillons pour arriver à ce que la collection soit homogène, chacun dans son univers, et qu'elle fasse rêver. En fait, je pense que je pars avec mes rêves. Je pense que je pars avec des intuitions. Et en fait, au fur et à mesure de travailler avec les artisans, mes envies se précisent. Je ne pars jamais bloquée sur quelque chose. Et c'est en travaillant, c'est en développant et en créant ces échantillons que je comprenais de mieux en mieux où je voulais aller exactement. Quand je travaillais avec les lissiers, plus ils pensaient comme moi, plus ils réfléchissaient comme moi, plus ils avaient la même culture que moi, plus les choses étaient faciles. C'est comme avec les designers, parce qu'il y a des échanges qui se font et que quand je leur dis quelque chose, ça doit rebondir dans leur imaginaire, ça doit rebondir dans leur propre culture, dans leur vie. Et par exemple, quand, pour revenir, je reviens à la console, mais quand je travaillais avec Catherine Bernet, pendant toutes mes vacances, je regardais les petites pousses dans la terre, et elle est rentrée de ses vacances en me disant « Valérie, j'ai passé mon temps à regarder les petites pousses dans la terre ». Donc ça voulait, ce qui amène à la fin à quelque chose d'exceptionnel, puisque tout le monde s'est concentré et centré sur la même vision, la même envie de voir les choses se faire, et à la fin on obtient un résultat.
Thank you for being here. Thank you very much.